The past few weeks in class, we've been talking about change and how it affects organizations. Companies can experience disruptive change, as in blue ocean strategies, new entrants, things like that. They can go through organizational change and globalization. Future Files by Richard Watson really kind of gets your mind thinking about how consumer needs and preferences and just our lifestyles in general are changing and what they could possibly be and how they've changed over the past few years. The section that stuck out to me the most, being a mechanical engineer, was science and technology, and just how he had talked about or posed a question about should he buy a Kindle, this was 2008, so they were kind of popular. They were just getting started, and to be honest, I haven't heard much of Kindles lately, so it kind of shows how it can die down just over the course of 10 years. It also got me thinking about something that I learned in my undergrad about Moore's Law, and how it's a principle of how the speed and capability of a computer is expected to double every 2 years. So your computer that you buy now will be ancient in 2 years. Like, it'll still work, but not nearly as powerful as the current ones are. There was two areas that of Future Files that stuck out to me for the refrigeration engineer or refrigeration industry. The first is demographics. Kind of been seen the past few years that it's becoming a younger, the people working in it are becoming younger. When I go to trade shows or conferences, there's a lot that are upper 50s, 60s, but then you look at our company and you've got 5 of our 7 engineers, maybe 6 of the 7 are all under the age of 30. So it's kind of showing how there's been kind of a change in age, and how there's also been a greater presence of women. It's kind of helped that there's been a bigger push lately to get women into engineering on the side of STEM, and how people have become better leaders at trying to even out the gender within engineering. I know that when I graduated, there was 11 of us in my graduating class, and we were all males. The second part that stuck out to me from Future Files was about climate control and the environment. The Montreal Protocol kind of ended. It's been playing a role lately in the refrigeration world. Ammonia and CO2 were kind of big refrigerants in the late 1800s, early 1900s, but then science developed HFC refrigerants, which worked better, but then in the 1980s, they kind of more research showed that they were depleting the ozone. So governments became more strict on them as climate control became a bigger topic. And ammonia is one of the best refrigerants because of its properties, but it's also extremely dangerous for individuals. So the EPA is becoming more strict on what is allowed and what isn't. So when looking at Future Files and applying it to the ammonia refrigeration world, you have to look at what regulations and laws might be in place in 5 to 10 years and how to overcome these. What my company has been doing has been working on expanding what refrigerants it can use into the scientific refrigerants that are okay for the ozone, and CO2, which is possibly the best for the ozone. Ammonia is really good for climate control, as it doesn't have any of those properties that will deplete the ozone, but it's just very toxic for humans when breathed in or when it gets on your skin. The final portion that kind of stuck out to me was how the refrigeration world will never go away. As long as people are eating, there will be a need to cool your food, freeze your food, that sorts of stuff. I looked up some of the statistics to see how it increased during a recession. The frozen food industry grew around 17.6% from 2006 to 2009 to show that no matter what someone's financial status is, they always need food. When they're struggling with money, they're going to go to the cheaper option, which is frozen foods. But as long as there's a need for food, there will always be a refrigeration industry. Some of the refrigerants won't exist anymore, such as R22, which is being phased out thanks to that Montreal Protocol that I talked about earlier. Ammonia refrigeration the same thing might happen to it. CO2 might be the only one left standing if there's tough regulations that are put on all the other ones. And then finally, about just the environment, is there's been a push lately for less water usage, less energy usage, more sustainability within the facilities. And our company, when we write a scope for the work that we're going to do, we always add in a section about energy efficiency measures just to show what the plant could do to become more socially responsible and just look better in the eyes of its investors or the people buying the food from them. In California, there's a big water shortage, so we have to, we've been using condensers that use a lot less water, only when it's extremely needed. Kind of hurts the system's efficiency a little bit, but in the end, it looks better because there's less water, and you're still going to be able to use that refrigerant. Thank you for listening to this. So the main 3 points were that the demographics have been changing. No matter what people's financial status is, they're always going to need food. And finally, climate change can have a big effect. Kind of have to monitor what is allowed and what isn't, and change our capabilities to be able to handle change and any regulations that might knock out ammonia refrigeration. We got to be able to adapt, keep our competitive edge within the Northwest, and maybe expand all over the country. But definitely look at how we can handle change, and that will help us stay competitive. Thank you.